From the PSIA-AASI Satellite Studios in Portland, Oregon, I'm George Thomas, and we are visiting with team members Katie White and Kevin Jordan, who are joining us from Portillo. You're listening to First Chair, and I think we got quite the show for you. Kevin, Katie, thanks very much for taking the time to chat with us. I know you're extremely busy.
No, thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Kevin, you're just in off the slopes, and Katie, you're getting back to work. What are some opportunities? I really want to talk about Portillo, and you've got some camps going on down there. We've got about 2 months before the season starts. You know, I'm thinking new instructor training, rehire training, things like that are going to be coming up beginning of November, the higher elevation areas for sure. And I know there are early season exams. Ed staff tryouts are coming up in December. What are some things we can do? I mean, we've gotten in shape over the summer, done lots of exercises, but what can I do to prepare my skiing, my teaching? What's offered down in Portillo that's really valuable for our membership? Katie.
Well, I think any extra time you get on snow, like I always think of Portillo as like bonus time, even though I'm here for 3 months in the whole season, but I look at it like this is bonus time where even if it were just a week where I can come and get like kind of dial in some stuff and work on technique. And that's what Kevin's doing here with his camp. And yeah, it's pretty cool to see a group of people down here focused. For most of them are North American participants that are focused on, improving their technique, summer in ski schools. And they're, like you just said, they're looking to prepare for certifications and just getting this little extra time on snow, I think is really useful because then you go into the season with a little bit more momentum than if you hadn't skied since last April,
And Kevin, a lot of times I think of ski camps as more race camp, but there aren't a whole lot of places in North America that you can ski right now. There are some indoor areas, but you've got a really amazing area to work with people down in Portillo. Tell us what you're doing with your camp. I mean, you're not down there bashing gates. You're working on people skiing and teaching.
Yeah, I mean, Portillo is such a great mountain, and I think there's backing up a little bit, Portillo's open through later in September or even end of September. So, and that a lot of people don't think about that because the kids go back to school and it's fall time and we're getting ready for the season and everything. And it's no, now is the time to go. And we did an earlier podcast, but basically in 2011 was my first time coming here. Doug Daniels from the East Coast put it together, and which was awesome. And I was like, this is the good time to go. It's actually the start of my 25-26 season. So what we're focusing on is there's some people who are going for certification exams. They want to do exam tasks. There's also a ton of terrain. But this morning, for example, Lindsey Vaughn is here, and she is training with other athletes from the U.S. ski team and the Canadian men's speed team, or a couple athletes from there are here. So literally for 30 minutes, we watch them go 130 kilometers, which is pretty 60 to 70 miles an hour through gates, because you don't get to see that every day. And when they're training, they're doing more laps. So we did some of that today and then talked about it and tried to, maybe emulate some of the good qualities that they were making. But I think it's not so much just the camps. It's just the September timeframe, end of August, early September is the kickoff for the next season. And one of the biggest things that you can do is actually get a jump start on your season by coming down. And people don't realize Portillo's still open, or other resorts, New Zealand, they're still open. Their season keeps going through September. So why not come down?
So Katie, is this beautiful spring skiing type snow and weather in Portillo right now?
I would have said that maybe 2 days ago, but it got cold again, which is great. Because they were able to make snow the last couple nights, and it's been actually not quite we're not getting slush. We had a little period of it, but right now, it's been a little colder and just really good for training for the speed team, like Kevin mentioned. because it's staying firm, and it's really inspiring watching them ski. And we've got some snow in the forecast for next week, and it could be a pretty big storm. So, springtime here we can get those really hot days, but we can also get some really, more big storms. Oh no.
Everybody's on it.
So one of the things, I've said this a lot throughout the years we've done First Chair, but for me, skiing in the summer was huge, especially in exam years, because it's like, wow, you're not kidding when you say you can really pick up. When I coached for 8 weeks in the summer, my skiing was so much better the following winter, even though you still have that gap of time. Coming down in September and really training hard for a week really could give somebody a good kickoff for their season, couldn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think what is available in Portillo? Say, okay, I really like Kevin and I want to take his camp. I just don't have the casual funds right now that I can throw Kevin's way. What's available in Portillo that I could do if I came down to really work on my skiing?
So I think one of the nicest things about Portillo is that our like group lessons and our private lessons they're pretty affordable, in comparison to what we pay in the Northern Hemisphere. And the nice thing about Portillo is our school is incredibly qualified. So to be in the adult school teaching 7 years and older, we are exclusively level 3. So pretty much whoever you get assigned is going to have they've gone through, and that's kind of the bare minimum anymore is level 3. And so they've gone through at their own certification process, and they could really help if it's someone working towards a certification. They'd have a lot to share. And then, our kids camp, it's pretty much the standard is level 2. And we've got some level 3s in there as well that just prefer to teach young kids. If I were to go back to teaching, that's probably where I would land because it's my favorite type of lesson. But yeah, so it's the school itself is really qualified and lessons are affordable. And I think there's just a really cool mix of different systems that are represented here. It's not just PSIA, but when I started working here, I really enjoyed, and I think it helped me grow a lot, learning from other certification systems and instructors from other countries, because it helped broaden my idea and thinking about how skiing worked and how we talked about skiing. And so just even a little sliver of exposure to different systems, I think, can be really valuable to someone going through the certification process.
So Kevin, I'm asking this question specifically at you. It's going to be a really big question. And then Katie, I want you to chime in big time. But Kevin, please tell us about your camp and what you're offering instructors for prep, for exam prep. You were saying people want to go through some of the demos and things like that. But then I would really like for both of you to chime in on what's something I can do if I just cannot get away from work this fall. How can I prepare for early season exam just to make my teaching better overall, period, or improve my skiing while I still have some off snow time where I just am not able to get out there and specifically work on skiing or snowboarding? Kevin, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I think, the idea behind a camp is that, maybe you're focused on like dusting off the rust, so to speak, but we've had some sessions where it's like exam prep or tactics. And, yesterday there was a gentleman who wanted to work on white pass turns. So we took that task as like not the only thing we did, but talking about like, how does that incorporate with fundamentals? What is a white pass turn? If, people can't see it, it's like they're going to lift the outside, like the new outside ski, and they're going to make the turn on their inside ski. And then at some point, usually around the middle of the turn, they put the outside ski back down. And so it's very challenging for a bunch of people, but it's also a very good recovery kind of move. But I think the cool thing about this camp is that actually, I'm trying to work with one of the ski instructors here named Joaquin Alvarez. He's a level 3 ski instructor, PSIA ski instructor. I met him in Snowmass, and he's very talented. He's hilarious. And that's the depth of the field. Like just one example that Portillo has, like the school itself is pretty, if you work in Portillo ski school, you are pretty good at ski instruction and skiing. So it's one of those things where, I'm smart enough to know that like if I have everybody just with me, I'm gonna have a massive split. So I need to partner with other, ski instructors so that we can kind of get to what people need to do. But even today, the group was actually lapping this condor lift, and I was just standing there on the side of the hill, and they were coming to me if they wanted feedback, or they were lapping if they were feeling something good. So I think, to answer your question, yes, camps are good. But what I'm really excited about is like, I haven't taught skiing in a little while. So it hasn't been since the last season. So like I'm dusting off the rust. Like, how do I say things? How do I explain things? So I'm actually getting my season going, or kind of some of that prep ahead of time. And I think I'll let Katie speak about like what people can do if you can't make the trip. And then I have some ideas on that too, but I want to make sure I'm not always talking.
No, you're great. Yeah, I have some ideas because I think it's really important to go into a season with focus and intention, especially if you are like aiming towards certification or ed staff tryouts. And I'm a big believer in going to the gym and not just mindlessly going through exercises, but thinking about how they connect to specific movements that we're doing in skiing. And like I do a lot of visualization in the gym. Like let's say, for example, I'm struggling with I don't know, like flexing my legs through the end of the turn. Like when I'm squatting or when I'm jumping and landing, I visualize myself in that phase of the turn as I'm doing the exercise. And that helps me connect the movement to the intention that I want and what I want to have as the outcome on snow. So that's one thing that I think people right now, it would be really relevant to start to do that. And the second piece of that is it can help you connect the dots and have a little bit more clarity as far as what you're looking for, rather than what I see a lot of times people going through certifications and sometimes even up into ed staff level, and I'm guilty of it as well, where I rely too much on someone amazing to tell me what I'm doing or not doing, versus having the clarity of this is what I want in my skiing. This is like objectively, this is what image I want to have, and here's how I want to get there, and I'll build some steps. So I think spending some time in the fall, like whether it's journaling or looking at videos and saving them and kind of having like a vision board, can be really helpful as you start the season, so that you start out with focus. Because I see a lot of people start the season and December goes by and then they start training in January. And it's like, you've missed a whole good month of like, we're teaching, we can be thinking about our skiing while we're teaching, we're in training, like rehire stuff. You can still be thinking about it and making big changes at the start of the season. So I would say those are my couple points. I'll let Kevin add his.
It's like intense visualization with applicable exercises.
Yeah.
And Katie's being really humble, but if you check out her Instagram page, she has a lot of like workouts that she's done in the gym, and she's connected them to skiing. And I've watched them a little bit. I haven't done them. I probably should, but I've watched them. And I think like the same thing, like now is the time to start reading some of the manuals if you haven't done so already. I find when you're not actually on the snow, maybe your mind can be on the snow by thinking through some of the manuals and maybe practicing some of that movement assessment things. What's cool about North America is that for a couple of weeks in October, like big snow, the place in New Jersey, the indoor ski area is like the only game in town. So shameless plug right now, but I'm going to be there in October because it's the only way I figured out how to ski in October, because Portillo is closed and other places aren't open yet. So I'm going to be there in October. So that's another way that you can do it. But I think, if you're riding on a mountain bike or you're going on a skateboard and you're a snowboarder, like there's ways to kind of visualize or mimic some of the movements that you've done. It's not exactly the same as getting on snow, but it's probably better than not doing anything. So I think like the idea is like start training now, because you'll be better paced for it. And like Katie said, a lot of people wait till the season starts and then they start working on their training. So whether that's picking up the phone, with someone who you see as a mentor and just say, hey, can we go for a walk and talk about skiing, or can we do something like that, you know, or what are you working on? Because I can tell you, like, my first day on snow down here was like, how do I do this again? And then day 2, we had a bunch of people and the weather came in and there was like very low visibility. So that kind of threw some people for a loop. So it's one of those things where you don't know what the conditions are going to be like. And now you're in and you're interacting. So you have to rely on some of the experience. And that's how I find like exams and assessments can be. You got to kind of put in the time and some of the work. So if you have a little study session, or if you have a little study buddy, like that might be someone who's also going towards level 2 or level 3. Give them a call and start talking. You know, what's your plan? What's my plan? And share those plans, because that will only help you, you know, actually achieve what you're trying to do.
So, Katie, you're actually coming up toward the end of Portillo season, and what are your plans for the next 3 weeks?
Well, I'll be here through the end of September. So, right now, my personal plans while I'm here, I've been wanting to do some more like specific race training. And so we've got some more time where I can get engaged more frequently. And so that's one specific thing. Secondly, I'm working on some stuff off piste that I hope to devote some time to, just to like go down the hill as much as I go across the hill. Because I think we all do it. I definitely do it. I hang on to things off piste, so I'm working on that. And luckily, Portillo has some steep terrain to play with that. And then from my professional perspective, I am wrapping up. We're doing some like end of season interviews this week, and yeah, just gonna enjoy. I want to make the most of every day that I'm here.
And Kevin, same question. You're coming up. How many more weeks of camp do you have, and what's kind of your personal goal throughout the end of your time down in Portillo?
Yeah,
before you went to the indoor skiing in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, I wish I could say I was down here for weeks. I was only down here for a week. It'd be nice to be down here for a couple weeks, but I don't know if my family would like that. So maybe they'll come with me one of these years. But yeah, like I said, big snow. I go back to the mountain bike school. We've done a couple podcasts about mountain bike stuff, and I go back to the mountain bike school, and that's kind of pretty much September. And then October, there's a little bit of a lull between kind of, seasons of mountain bikes over, and the new season's kind of starting. So I will go to New Jersey, which I'm looking forward to, because I love skiing in that indoor place. It's so much fun. And then we hit team training in early November. And the nice thing is that Katie and I have had some time on snow, so we're gonna stick it to our teammates, because we know what's up. No, I'm just kidding. Like, we won't do that. But I will say, like, today I took a run with Tommy, who's this really incredible instructor, and Katie. And what was so cool, we did some synchronized skiing. And it's so much fun when you get in with someone that you've skied with a little bit, but you haven't skied with in a while. And there's this weird, like, kind of comfort, but and I don't know, it's kind of like a homey feel where you're like, this is familiar. And it's so much fun, and there's a little bit of trust. So I'm actually looking forward to this season of practicing some more synchronized skiing, some more formation skiing, because it's the only time in my life I ever feel like a fighter pilot. And I think that's really what I probably wanted to be when I grew up. And so, like, we get to practice and we get to play together. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that with the team this season.
And Katie, last question. I know you're on a time crunch and you both need to get going, but what's something that you're really excited that the team is going to be kind of introducing to the membership this year and as a focus?
Ooh, this is a good question. Wow. I think I'm really excited what I think this will be a really big year for us for planning Interski. And because we are hosting Interski for the first time since the 60s, I think. 68. So, yep. Yeah. And so I think that's going to be really huge. And I think the membership's going to start to hear more and more about it. And, as we come up with the vision, the all in, the inclusive, I think we're going to see some really cool stuff come out of it. So.
Kevin? Yeah, I was just starting first grade when Interski was last in the U.S.
Nice. That's awesome. I think Interski is awesome, and I know that the regions, like not necessarily the team, but the regions are hard at work for this strategic alignment, which is actually trying to unify how we do our assessments, right? So how we do like our level 1. And there's a deadline coming up in May of 2026, so that it's ready to go for the 26-27 season. So that's approaching because we're in the 25-26 season. So I think there's more work to be done there, but I know there's a lot of people working really hard on that. And I think we need to give some props to all the, Alpine task force leaders and the people who are chairing committees and people who are on Zoom calls, and probably Angelo, who's on every single Zoom call. And, those kind of things that'll be fun to see. That will be exciting for the membership, because I only think it's going to benefit the membership to actually have more of a unified process, right? So everybody's kind of taking the same test. So I'm looking forward to helping where we can with that. But I already know there's a ton of great work that's been being done and continues to be done by a lot of people like this one over here and some others.
Katie White, Kevin Jordan, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us on First Chair. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, George. So fun.
Thanks, George.
From the PSIA-AASI Satellite Studios in Portland, Oregon, I'm George Thomas.